peopled by those who had yet to learn how to grin and bend over for the white man. In this new colored world above the park, this tall, light-skinned man was king, and his subjects were happy to bask in his long, ambling shadow. Proud new 20th century world, where the 4L lines stretched their arms and came right uptown, stitching the great New World city to the suddenly Negro suburb. The Italian baker and the German brewer and the Irish policeman had no inclination to travel to or live in such a far-flung place. And so some 40 years after the end of the war that was fought to liberate blistered wrists and ankles, New York City Negroes were finally becoming American citizens with homes of their own. Peering through Du Bois's newly embroidered veil, they saw before them a new century and new possibilities above 110th Street, where a powerful Harlem harmattan was blowing fresh news from Africa. Tan maidens with peachy bleached skin and recently straightened hair stepped around tall, muscular men fresh off the ships from the Caribbean, who in turn rubbed shoulders with excited Southerners who had tilled enough soil for a dozen lifetimes and were overjoyed to have finally arrived in the North. And then, of course, there were the formerly enslaved New Yorkers who could trace their ties with the city back to the entrepreneurial, but mean-spirited, Dutch. Quick, everybody. Hurry uptown to the barbershops and restaurants and funeral homes that colored men now owned in New York City. Hurry home to Harlem. West Indian Bert Williams Harlem. And then, after Bert Williams left, everything changed, and Harlem began to sell her smile, and her vitality, and her energy, and automobiles began to clubfoot their way uptown and sit right on down. Sometimes they didn't even have the good sense to turn off their engines. But by then, Harlem was better known to the world as a neighborhood that one should visit only under the moon, a place where one might buy a front-row seat and witness the clumsy metal hooves of Bojangles stomping poor Africa to death and replacing her with Showtime. And so his world became a famous nighttime venue for people who wished to purchase a thrill and temporarily escape the cage in which they lived their ordered downtown lives. They would climb into their vehicles and ask to be driven uptown in order that they might go back to the jungle and behold tall and terrific women shaking their hips and dancing with an abandon that was beyond the control of a rational mind. They wished to go back to a place that they imagined they had long ago fled on two legs, with a silk scarf tossed casually around their necks. The dark past in their city. Coons tight like spoons on brightly lit stages, and champagne flowing like the Hudson at full tide. These were bright new moneyed times in which society people were encouraged to enjoy the primitive theatrics of those who appeared to be finally understanding that their principal role was now to entertain. Listen. The wail of a trumpet as it screeches crazily toward heaven and then shudders and breaks and falls back to earth, where its lament is replaced by the anxious, syncopated tap-tap-tapping of clumsily shod feet beating out their joyous black misery in a tattoo of sweating servitude, performative bondage. Yes, sir, boss. I will be what you want me to be. And when you climb into your automobile at 5 o'clock in the morning with Miss Ann on your arm and a gentle buzzing in your veins, the lights will be turned off, and the shoes will be eased from my burning feet, and the spit shaken out of my instrument, and the tie loosened from my fat neck, and we men will appear where previously only shades lived, and we men will speak to one another in grave, low tones, cutting fatigue with relief, and anticipating short bouts of loving before the chain of streetlights blink out one after the other, and the sun clears the horizon, and sleep finally reaches down and smooths our furrowed American brows, bringing us some kind of peace until the afternoon is new and strong and full again. Act 1, 1873 to 1903. It is February 1903, and at present he is impersonating Shylock Homestead in the musical In Dahomey, but only after dark. He shambles about as though unsure what to do next, as if a wrong turning has placed him upon this stage, and he may as well stay put.